All right, happy Monday. It's the day after St. Patty's Day, and we are trying to do some court. We've got a trial roster in Georgetown, but we're out of court this week in Horry. So what we wanted to talk with you about is a big legislative bombshell that came out last week, which was constitutional carry. Before, in South Carolina, if you wanted to carry a handgun, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division would make sure that you didn't have a record. Then you would have to go through a training class. Then they would give you a concealed weapons permit, and you would carry that around with you, and that made it allowable for you to walk around and have a gun, but you had to have it covered up under a coat, under, in where it wasn't just fully displayed. A couple of years ago, they changed that to say that it could be open carry, but all of the other stuff remained the same. Last week, what came about is that there is really, you can walk around as long as you're entitled to have a gun. In other words, you're above a certain age, you are without a felony, you don't have any mental defects, those sort of things. As long as you're competent to carry a gun, you can carry a gun. It can be closed, it can be open, but you don't have to have that blue card anymore. So much so that some people call it constitutional carry, some people call it permitless carry. In other words, you don't have to have a permit. There is still a reason to have a permit if you want to. It will probably help you to be able to buy guns a lot quicker because you still have to be able to purchase them from a person that sells firearms. And that is sort of like with TSA. You get to go through a quicker line to be able to buy guns that way. But it's not necessary. And that has changed a lot of stuff. There has been a lot of questions. The bill was, like all bills, just extremely wordy. It's very hard to understand. I read it a couple of times. It's pretty long. Everybody in the office read it and reread it, trying to figure out all of the details. At the same time we were doing that, SLED, South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, was doing it also. So suffice it to say that we have come up with a study guide. I would call it a cheat sheet, but a study guide to the do's and don'ts of constitutional carry. It's going to be under the first comment, and it's free for you to go there and look. It's not the wordiness anymore. It is the high notes. It's everything you need to know on one page. And I think it'll answer a lot of your questions. We're also doing a training for law enforcement officers and for prosecutors. We're all trying to catch up. So that sort of tells you what the bill is. The big no-nos is if you are prohibited from carrying a weapon. In other words, in 1994, you had a possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. That means you are prohibited. And South Carolina had a bunch of funky rules that we're kind of famous for, but it was not violent crimes, but crimes of violence, just a wordplay. Now it pretty much mirrors what the federal system does, which says if you're prohibited, if you've pled to anything that would carry, over a year for the most part. A lot of that stuff prohibits you now, but you'll be able to see in the study guide below. Those have pretty harsh penalties. So if you're prohibited, you can stop right there. You should not be carrying a gun if you're prohibited. The other part that the bill goes into is places that you can't carry a gun. It's pretty much wide open anywhere except in a courthouse, except in a house of worship, there's some carve-outs that says you can't carry a gun there unless you've got express permission. So take a look. It'll be well worth your time. It won't be like reading through the bill. If you have any questions, comment below and we'll try to answer those the next time. It's going to take a minute for everybody to wrap their minds around this new thing, but it really is pretty much permitless carry. Any of the rights, rules that you would have had before, if you would have been able to get a permit to carry, now as long as you qualify, you can carry without any authority from the government other than the Second Amendment. So take a few minutes, look over it and see what you think. If you got any questions, let us know. If you've got any comments, let us know that too, and we will try to sort through this together.